So out and about again. It's not raining, so the Pocket 3 can come out. I'm back over in the UK again. This wasn't planned. Or wasn't planned for long. Just here for a few days. Actually walking around the town that I grew up in. It's always strange going back to a place you know you've got a memory and a recollection of what a place is like. When you come back to it decades later, it's obviously not the same. But it's an opportunity to come out and play around with this camera again. I've spent a lot of time recently with the X4 from Insta360. That's not what I'm recording on right now. This is the Pocket 3. And I've been cycling with it, I've been running with it. But I've also been trying to use the X4 for more vlogging type stuff. Hyperlapses, slow-mo, talking to camera. Well, it's become very apparent very quickly that it's not really the best tool for talking to camera. Mainly because the image quality of any 360 camera, including the X4, which is an excellent 360 camera, but the image quality is still compromised compared to, say, a gimbal stabilized camera like this one, or a more regular action camera, or of course, regular cameras. I find that even though we have seen a massive leap, and it is a huge leap, in reframed image quality from X4 compared to X3 or compared to GoPro Max, it's still a compromise. So I've stopped for the moment making any attempts to do such things with X4. And I've come to this conclusion. If you're going to be lost in the moment and you focus on what you're doing, be it an action sport, be it cycling or running or something way more extreme than anything I do, if the moment's going to be lost because you're spending your time messing around with your camera, you need to use a 360 camera because that gives you the best opportunity to capture as much of the moment as possible and then reframe the shot in any way you like later on. In any other situation, I really don't think a 360 camera is the way to go. I think it's much better if you have a gimbal stabilized camera like Pocket 3 or a regular action camera like GoPro Hero 12. Just because the image quality is so much better from either of those cameras. The big downside of this one, of course, is the weather. It rains, you can't use it. But I think I might have mentioned that once before already. Finding that perfect vlogging camera is not easy. Well, it kind of is easy because there are so many different options, all of which are very capable. But they're not always capable in every single situation. So it kind of depends on whether or not you want to have one camera that does absolutely everything, which, by the way, is the sensible choice, or you have different cameras for different situations and different scenarios, which is where I found myself and where I think many other people find themselves too. So take this, Osmo Pocket 3, a fabulous vlogging camera, one that I have had since the end of 2023. Kind of took me by surprise just how good it was. I've taken on quite a few trips, having been a user of the Pocket 1 and Pocket 2, both of which were heavily compromised. The Pocket 3 is on a different planet. However, it's not really one for action sports. And by action sports, I generally run and cycle, and I do not take this running and cycling. I have tried running with it. Nah, don't do it. Don't try it. The other compromise, or the real compromise with this, is it's not weather sealed at all. And I've said that before, and other people have said it as well. So it's nothing new, but it's quite a compromise. Every time you take it out, including this morning, I've had to check the weather forecast before I went out. Is it worth taking my Pocket 3 out or not? Am I going to get rained on? If I'm going to get rained on, is it going to be too much for the camera to cope with? Which basically means any rain whatsoever, because even the memory card slot is completely exposed on this Pocket 3. Talked already about X4, fabulous 360 camera, but any 360 camera is still compromised on image quality. Firstly, because of the processing that's done to that video file, and secondly, because you're doing it with lenses that are more than 180 degrees of view, field of view, which creates an awful lot of distortion, which has to be corrected by the software. So in my mind, there's always a situation for a 360 camera, and as they get better, those situations are going to get more and more relevant and more frequent, but it's not there yet. So then I come to the third option that I use on a regular basis, and that's a GoPro. Now, GoPros have been my vlogging camera of choice and my travel camera of choice for many years now. And as GoPros change their iterations, as they go from Hero 9 to 10 to 11 to now 12, usually you get a big uptick in image quality and processor speed, audio capability, and so forth. With Hero 12, we didn't really get that. We did, I think we got better microphones, but there's no data that supports that. No one else says it, but I'm still convinced the microphones are better in Hero 12 than Hero 11. But we lost GPS, which for me, that's a big loss, but it didn't stop me buying Hero 12. Hero 12 on its own, or Hero 12 with Max Lens Mod 2.0, are fabulous action cameras for running, for cycling, for swimming, for hiking, and frankly also for doing this. I find I get more stable footage when I'm walking and talking with a Hero 12 than I do with the Pocket 3, because the mechanical gimbal on this Pocket 3 isn't really able to compensate for the moving up and down as I walk. Now I can do the ninja walk, but you can do that for a little bit perhaps when you're trying to do a smooth shot, but there's no way I'm going to walk like that while I'm walking and talking to a camera. It already feels awkward enough walking and talking to a camera anyway, let alone trying to do a fancy walk at the same time. So if I had to pick one camera, and only one camera, that I could use in as many situations as possible, it would not be Pocket 3, it would not be X4, it would still be GoPro Hero 12. Because I can use it in all weathers, I can use it in all situations. There really is very little compromise on a Hero 12 compared to other possible action cameras of choice that you could use to vlog. So there you go. I hope this is useful. My name is Julian. If I can run with it, bike with it, hike with it, or film with it, I'll make videos about it and put them here on YouTube. If that's of interest to you, please do consider subscribing to the channel. Thank you so much for watching. Look forward to seeing you again very soon. So I'm actually back in the town that I grew up in. I haven't walked around this place for over 20 years now. It's interesting when you go back to a place that you haven't been to for a long time. You've got a perception in your head about what it's like, what it looks like, and I always find I'm disappointed when I go back. I've driven around here many times in the last few years, but this is the first time I've walked around this town, yeah, for 20 odd years. And I lived here, I grew up here, and I lived here until I was about 16. So it was a key part of my childhood, but not my adult life. And of course, as an adult, you see a place always completely different to how you see it as a child. But even though the stores have got different signs on the front, and buildings have been pulled down and rebuilt and modified, and streets have changed, the parks have changed as well, the atmosphere doesn't, and I'm really struggling to figure out how to describe what I'm saying. But if I say the sights and smells and sounds are the same, I hope you understand what I mean. There isn't really a smell here as such, but it just has the same ambience, the same atmosphere. This is always a very relaxed place to live, I remember as a child, and that feeling's the same. Maybe that's just population size. I don't think it's changed in 20 years. I don't know. Anyhow, funeral later on today, which is quite sad, very sad. And then back home to North Carolina in a couple of days.